Welcome in, this is Heart of the Moon. Another video in the recap series. But we're still not out of the woods yet. How to settle an impulse that won't go away. What do we have to go by? The stars? Guideposts for sacred times? We know where to zero in on the sky, but what of sacred times? We can simplify light or knowledge to a reflection as an energy spread. Welcome in. Something that's more easier to interpret. If there's a situation that falls, then rises, the Whispering Rose spread models that quite well. The first position, initial energy. Second, a reversal. Third, direction. Fourth, automatic clarifying card. The fifth and final spot, overall message. Without mentioning anything else, there's a high energy moment that falls into the hermit energy. The card in the reverse is interpreted accordingly, except the energy like the hermit, which is already a direction inwards. But then, direction into the Ace of Fire. The Knight of Swords clarifies the individual is in the hermit energy to find a vision. The overall message, the major arcana Wheel of Fortune, ruled by Jupiter, could say something like, the wheel turns by divine intervention. But now, just imagine Joshua of the Old Testament. To settle an impulse, he got a local mystic to do a reading. The following cards turned up. Everything seemed clear, except one spot. So Joshua the Seeker asks for a clarifying card on the Ace of Fire. As soon as he does, a card flies out of the deck. It's the Tower card, ruled by Mars. And that's what happened. A spread is just a way to simplify a state of affairs for clarification. This is the content of the Sephiroth. But we want to extend the concept, simplified, to an energy spread. Here's a challenge. Check out the symbolism of the Sephiroth, of the Kabbalah method, which seeks to understand the nature of Source and the universe, essentially as a process. For a deeper discussion and understanding, we suggest the online article called The Sephiroth by Nissan David Dubov. The Sephiroth, in essence, is a reflection of Source. 10 energies representing the attributes of Him. The energies actuate, come into expression as a result of a gradual disclosure of subject matter from an infinite source known as Ein Sof, plainly as God. Maybe consider it this way. What's an earthly experience? Most often, mastery of a subject is a learning process. Take, for example, we've talked about the spirit of the Horn of Corvus aspect many times, made up of 4 triangles. First, the original idea, then finding out its potential, next, testing it. Finally, the energy flies into the mystical. We believe the evolution of the engine energized the spirit of Libra. Started off as a factory-built engine, 100 horsepower, then a process. Drove out the other side as a supercharger, 250 horsepower. Here, it didn't start off as a supercharger. Like we did in the previous video, let's make some more parallels. We simplified, transposed it to everyday world energies we're familiar with. The sun symbolizes Source, the infinite, while the moon is literally a reflection of the sun spirit on Earth, a kingdom. We think Venus is equivalent to Teferet, beauty and harmony, which equates to love, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes. Love tries to find an average that works well for everyone. Uranus, equivalent to Chakma, a point of infinite wisdom. Faith is in the now, where the infinite dwells. Miracles happen. Associated with the Fool card. Pluto, equivalent to Dot, or knowledge, the original idea, our subconscious. Heart of the Moon strongly believes it symbolizes our olive tree spirit. Mercury, equivalent to Keter, or divine will, being fully aware of the idea, which is simply equated with consciousness. Thus, we think it symbolizes our almond tree spirit. An energy that's not included in the Sephiroth, however, is part of the energy spread, the planet Neptune, an illusory type of energy. We think there's 4 states of the almond and olive tree spirits. The first, both are fully awake, communicating with each other. The second, the almond tree is fully awake, but the olive tree is asleep. But then, in the correct season, the almond tree says to its sleeping friend, "Wake up, because you got all the secrets." The third, physical sleep, Neptune's dream world. The fourth and last, the least we can say is, both are spiritually asleep, leaves on the wind with no direction whatsoever. Like someone once said, "The wind just pushed me this way." Neptune's energy basically obscures any type of reality. Well, it seems that way anyway, because the sun may be blocked by clouds, but it still shines. The parallel, we think, Aaron and Moses energized the almond and olive tree spirits, respectively. Moses said this about himself: "I'm not a very good speaker." But then the conversation went something like, "No problem. Aaron, you're the communicator for the mission." Here's an example, we believe, an idea coming into full awareness instantly, as possible on Earth. Sacred pair energy. The next comparable, we think, the hangman energy, equivalent to Binah, or understanding, the spirit of the prophet. Thus, Nathan, the advisor to King David. What's David mostly known for? His faith. Before the last comparable, recall the process of the Sephiroth, a gradual disclosure of subject matter. What's Samuel from the Old Testament known for? Today, we could say something like a person of many hats. We believe he's the spirit of Jevera, where Jupiter is boundless. Jevera is the attribute of unlimited restraint, or plainly the concept of conservatism. For example, one of his hats, a priest. As far as we know, the functions of a priest during Samuel's time was to impart divine wisdom or set a moral standard. Since the energy of the hermit is an extension of Jevera, a leader could provide spiritual counsel. Another thing Samuel is known for, he prayed for Israel at Mizpah. The Lord interceded and drove away the Philistines. A victory, Mars's energy. He was also known as a prophet, the hangman of understanding, another extension of Jevera. Last thing to mention about Samuel, he played a pivotal role in the transition from the period of judges to the monarchy, where Saul stood in the energy of Jupiter. However, as fate would have it, as Saul lost favor, Samuel ensured David's position. Since the Hangman and Uranus energies are higher than Jevera and Jupiter, the way was now open for Nathan to succeed Samuel as prophet, and David to succeed Saul as king. Consequently, Samuel was like a gatekeeper. What else can we say about the Hangman of Understanding? In Jewish custom, it's believed Malachi was the last prophet. We believe the spot fell out of use because Jewish society must have spiritually transformed. There had to be a time when the energy of understanding was given the opportunity to manifest in full within them, within us. What if Cronus, the seeker, also got a personal reading from a local mystic? The initial energy could be a rulership of a domain. Next, a fall. But then, Three of Pentacles, we believe, the third decante of Capricorn. One more shot at glory. The clarifier, serving self-justice on oneself, ruled by Libra, along with Venus's loving spirit. Lastly, the overall message, a divine moment when Cronus returns to Eden. Compared to an actual reading, for that reading, we used the snapshot spread, which gives a broad view of a situation, but it can also give details. In our beginning, Heart of the Moon's readings did an oracle type of message. So a full moon reading would be a message for the upcoming new moon energy of closing the chapter on things. In the Pisces Full Moon Oracle of September 2019, we posed an overall question, and the oracle was, roll video bite. Hello, welcome to the Pisces Full Moon Oracle for the Collective. This is Heart of the Moon. It's a great time to transform and leave old patterns of behavior behind. We have an overall question. The question is, what are the things to close the chapter on and then transform to a higher version of ourselves? All right, that came out beautiful. I think that's pretty obvious. This is the current situation with this one had the highest lot. There we go. What we got? The sea serpent. The Three of Hearts. And that's creativity. And that's love and water. But all these energies, like from Mars and the Sun and Jupiter, they're being filtered through Venus as well. Venus is loving energy right here. Creative. This is the overall energy. I get the feeling that it's like this harmonious rhythm of all these energies. Sure, there are going to be, if we have this kind of rhythm going, yeah, there's going to be dips and upswings and dips and upswings, yeah. But it's not going to be, it's not this chaotic chaos. It's like this rhythm of change and love and fire and communication, all in this kind of rhythm. The energy I get from the sea serpent is individuality. And there's a big energy of the current energy, or what's going to be current very soon, is the focus is about the self mainly. And I think the self, there's a lot of, transformation inside the self right now. Either way you want to look at it, it's a win or a loss, or a win or a loss. But it's very, look at the symbolism of that. It's very singular. And this always reminds, the sea serpent energy reminds me of like a black hole. You know, and a sea serpent energy gives me this feeling of self-sufficiency as well. It's like this sea serpent, or if it's a black hole, this sea serpent is carving out a piece of the universe, like similar to what a black hole does. It carves out a home in the universe, and this is the feeling I get with the sea serpent card, is that this sea serpent is self-sufficient and has carved out a hole in the universe, which is its home, something similar to what a black hole does. What your situation is, this transformation of the self is going to be healing. And this sea serpent during this change wraps their loving energy around all this turmoil that's going on, perhaps on the inside. And during this change, this transformation of the self, or this rhythm of all these energies, this could be a very symbolic image of what's going on. That's the feeling I get. I think the current situation is really harmonious with the overall energy and the overall number. The third card is going to be Spirit's Oracle. Can we have one card, please? Okay, that card. The Seven of Hearts and 7, and that's love and water. And 7 is truth. Coming to terms with truths about ourselves. Is part of these endings, these completions. Spirit is saying, embrace your own truth. I always go back to the archetypal energy of the 7, which is truth. But there's, depending on your situation, there could be another different meaning in 7 for your situation. Love the self and transform on the inside. Later on, we can share it out into the world. Think of it as intuition. We also think of it in a practical way of teamwork. This really harmonious feeling of teamwork in these 3 cards. And this is what we get. It's beautiful. And it's all water energy. It's all love. All this loving energy. Venus Venus showed up to the table and shared some of her love. Thank you, Venus. The overall question of what are the things to close this chapter on, and then transform to a higher version of ourselves. Close the chapter on our old selves, and then transform to a higher version of ourselves. This has been the Pisces Full Moon Oracle for the Collective. Thank you, Spirit. Like we said, the seeker could look for more meanings of the cards, because everyone knows their situation better. From a book called It's Written in the Cards by Leo Martello, it offers more meanings to the 7 of Hearts, such as a favorable change in someone's surroundings. If a new home, a good one, provided it's not surrounded by spades. From a previous video, we found the location and identity of the Satan, Saturn. Where is he located in the energy spread of the Sephiroth? We know Jevera is the energy unlimited restraint. According to the online article called The Sephiroth, quote, Jevera conceals from the created beings the activating force within them. This enables them to exist as tangible entities instead of being utterly nullified within their source, unquote. What's an obvious aspect of Saturn? The ring, comparable with the attribute of unlimited restraint. What is more, according to Hopi teachings, Massa is the spirit of death. Then, recall the myth he concealed his children in his own stomach. The Hopi also believe Massa is the ruler of the fourth world, which is today. Time, being the fourth dimension, with work of Albert Einstein and others, such as Hermann Minkowski. Furthermore, they believe Massa is the gatekeeper to the fifth world, the higher energy of consciousness. But here you might ask, and it's a good question, what of Saturn's devil energy? Here's something to consider. When Neptune is direct, he's all about illusion. In retrograde, it's as if the veil of illusion is pulled back. Saturn direct, all about rules and restrictions. But when he goes retrograde, it's as if the rules fly out the window, which could be the energy of taking things too far. We can basically say any type of limit or influence that's really not supposed to be in the energy block has a temporary function, thus will eventually fall out of use. Then consider Revelation 12:12, quote, the devil has come down to you, knowing he has only a short time, unquote. In other words, whatever influence Saturn has on Earth, it's only temporary or finite. Let's see how everything that's been said thus far matches with the sacred signs in the sky. Nice of you to drop by. Recollect, Massa means death spirit. Yes, but he also has a benevolent side, such as he helped settle the Hopi. They also believe under the exterior mask, there's a balanced man. Is it possible to settle the most extreme contradiction, the curse of the werewolf, of a fragmented mind? Which way is which? Saturn direct is all in for the rules, but the South Node is all about throwing the rules out the window. Put another way, the South Node coincides with energies falling out of favor. Recall, what's the sequence of events of Pluto's mirror? Exposure, then close the chapter on things. While in Capricorn, earlier the same year, around April, the conjunction of Pluto and Saturn direct. Then, in the following Libra new moon, take a look. While still in Capricorn, Pluto retrograde conjunct Saturn direct and South Node meant twice confirming Saturn's energies falling out of favor. Moreover, Saturn is also conjunct Vega, the fallen star. If you haven't already, look at the previous video about the decans. Vega, in the constellation of Lyra, the harp, the second decante of Capricorn, of a fall. According to the house system Placidus, the effects will be felt in Capricorn in the first house of the self, which is cardinal energy, Capricorn's energy. The star, combined with what was mentioned, a triple confirmation, fated sign in the sky. It's funny how the sea serpent energy showed up in the Pisces Full Moon Oracle, because strong internal processes happen during the second decante of Capricorn. The sea serpent card reminds us of a black hole in space, or maybe boundless restraint. The card is also the energy of the sacral chakra, which could be finding security in a new home. So far, how do you think the hypothetical reading and real-life oracle matches with the energy in the sky? The reading might be hypothetical, but the energy models the energetic process of Capricorn. But let's continue. The star aspect in the Libra new moon. Notice the gray cross and red square. Aspects called the Grand Cross and Grand Square, respectively. When they're combined, Heart of the Moon considers them an entire aspect we call the star. An aspect is an energy mantle. What's that? A decante is equivalent to an energy mantle, because when we align with the energy of a decante, we experience the benefits and or challenges of that constellation. In a similar manner, often through a process, we align our energy with the aspect, ultimately to enjoy the benefits of it. To understand the star aspect, we can pose a straightforward question. What happens during star formation in space, literally? Energy goes inwards, and then gravity speeds up the process, which is maximum stress. Finally, kapow! A star is born. A square aspect, two different energies forced to interact with each other. As a result, it could create maximum stress. We think a current real-life example is Israel and Palestine. There are 4 square aspects, the red lines to process, in the overarching star aspect. For example, if Cronus had to deal with what was already mentioned, at the same time, there's a star aspect to energize, then he has the following energies to process. Frigga, retrograde in Aries, which is going inwards again, which could make him relook at commitments. The North Node is the direction our soul wants us to go. Then, to balance the which way is which decision of the scales, Cancer North Node versus Capricorn South Node, tip the scales more to Cancer, as in be more caring, less materialistic, then perhaps heal from the limitations of the past. What is more, North Node in Cancer, regeneration into a new shell for a crab, a new home. Since the star aspect is, for everyone, Cronus lends his energy to the aspect. You know what that means, right? Hoping we're right. The top boss of evil is actually a humanitarian after all. The square aspects might be a force, but we can still resist the energy by our free will. But then consider where the North Node wants us to go. Recollect a phrase from the diary of the werewolf. I'm lost unless something higher in my mind. Why should I suffer when I could dwell in flawless creation? If only I can recall the power of decision, realize where I belong. Next, the energy flows towards Venus, basically the energy process of the second decante of Capricorn, which we already mentioned. Venus smooths over the rough edges with her loving energy. Moreover, in the epilogue, of the energetic history of the Spanish Empire, we referred to an idea of Geezer Butler, the bassist for Black Sabbath. When he wrote the song N.I.B., the song is about how Satan falls in love, which is basically an optimistic point of view. The soul journey of Capricorn shows there is a pathway back to the flawless creation of Eden, so Geezer's optimism may not be misplaced, because the gray lines are the flow of energy. After processing the 4 square aspects, Cronus and anyone else who energized the aspect can enjoy its benefits. One more shot at glory. Thus, no matter how you look at it, the entire energetic process of Capricorn coincides with the energy spread of the Libra new moon of 2019. Finally, where will the energy be felt? According to the house system of Placidus, Capricorn in the 1st house of the self, Aries in the 4th house of the home, Cancer in the 7th house of partnerships, and Libra in the 10th house of career. But what of our center place?